This next section features a signature focus component called Thinking and Feedback. Thinking and Feedback elevates and makes visible children's work to the classroom community, allows children to reflect on and extend their learning, and develops critical thinking and discourse skills. Ideally, thinking and feedback occurs immediately after centers. A child or group of children shares a piece of work with the group and their peers comment on it. How is this different from show and tell? Typically, in show and tell, a child brings a toy from home and shows it off to his friends. Children usually respond by saying, "I want that," or "I have one of those at my house," or "I like that, it's pretty." The toy is then put away and the child is told to not play with it for the remainder of the day. In thinking and feedback, children present, but what they show, their artifact, is work from centers. Immediately following centers, children gather as a whole group. A protocol, set of prescribed steps, is used to guide the discussion. Included in the curriculum are visual prompts for each of these steps. Many teachers post these in the meeting area to keep the discussion on track. Let's go through the 5 steps of the protocol. The first step is looking. Children look silently at the artifact. The next step is noticing. Children are asked, "What do you notice about Joe's work?" Choose or let the child choose 2 to 3 children to answer. Model the protocol language. "I noticed you used a lot of green, and I see you drew lines across the top." The third step is listening. The presenting child explains his or her inspiration, describes his or her process, and any challenges they might have encountered. It is recommended that you prepare the child by having a brief meeting with him at the end of centers. The fourth step is wondering. This typically is the most difficult step for children because they have to ask questions about the artifact. But you can model for children, why did you use so much green? How did you draw the lines at the top? You'll find that this step will sound a lot like the noticing step as children are learning to discern a question from a comment. In the final step, inspiring and suggesting, children offer feedback, suggestions on how to refine their work, address the challenges they encountered, or describe how the artifact might inspire them. To avoid generic statements such as, "That's nice," set the expectation that feedback should be kind, specific, and helpful. You can model with, "It looks like you worked really hard on that." The teacher then summarizes the discussion. It is helpful to refer to notes taken by another adult during the discussion. The summary is presented to the child who presented their artifact in the next day in centers, and they are given the option of acting on or not the feedback. Children benefit from adult modeling, gradual buildup, and practice with the protocol. For 3-year-olds, you may stay with the first 3 steps, looking, noticing, and listening for a number of weeks. Notice that the protocol language is the same as quality of facilitation of learning. From the first day of school, use the language in the protocol as you facilitate learning in centers. For example, "I noticed you're working really hard on making that block structure stable. Jaden, do you have any suggestions for Joe that he can make it balance?" In the first week, gather the children after centers and model the spirit of the protocol. During centers today, I noticed a lot of children working together cooperatively, and that really helps our classroom be peaceful. Tomorrow, I suggest that we might want to keep our voices inside voices. In the second week, introduce thinking and feedback as a classroom routine, focusing only on the first 3 steps. For example, "Friends, at the end of centers today, do you notice how I always reflect on what you did and give you feedback? I think you should have the opportunity to do so too. So today we're going to learn something called thinking and feedback." Here are some picture cards that we can use to learn the steps. Think about the 3 components of intro to centers, and thinking and feedback as a powerful arc of teaching and learning, from more teacher-directed in intro to teachers and children working together during centers, and then primarily child-directed in thinking and feedback. Other recommendations for equality thinking and feedback. As you circulate during centers, notice work that could be artifacts. Make sure to check in with the child or children before presenting. Artifacts shouldn't necessarily be finished products, nor do they have to be exemplary. It actually makes for a heartier discussion if the artifact represents a work in progress, possibly showing a challenge. Keep track of who has presented, but don't worry about creating a system such as certain children having their turn on certain days. The important thing is that all children have an opportunity to present and to give feedback.